So guess who's back outside today to touch grass? I don't even remember the last time I actually sat down on the grass.
What?
It's been a long time since I've sat down on the grass. I normally just sit on the bench. But of course, if I'm in the mood to sit on grass, then I'll sit on grass. But I'm very skeptical. I'm always watching for bugs, dog doo-doo, ants, and all other manner of creatures.
He ain't lying.
But today I just felt like, yeah, come sit on the grass, man. Sat on the bench. There's a little bench. There were about 2 benches. Went close to the pond, took some pictures and did some recording of the swans here. And I went over to my regular spot that I would normally sit at. It's a little wooden bench thing. Then I was like, you know what? Come sit down and touch grass, man. It's been a while since you last sat on the grass. Come touch some grass. And here I am.
Nice.
I've been feeling some type of way lately, man.
What do you mean by that?
Is that an ant already? These guys are fast. For little creatures, they're so fast. Yeah, I've been feeling some type of way lately, man. Feeling a little discouraged. A little discouraged, and it's okay. It's okay to feel the feelings. They're there for a reason. As people say, they're here to teach you something, which sometimes I tend to struggle with, but it's cool. It's cool. It's part of the growth process of being a being. And those are the things I started to question again, but heavy at this time, like real heavy. The purpose of humanity, the purpose of being a being, what a human being is. Like I like to ask questions like, what will be called, or what word or phrases or term did other people before us call them? Like call us as a collective species on the planet. Like what other words do we call ourselves in their own languages? Before English became English, what did other people call themselves? What did ancient humans call themselves, you know? So those are the things I like to explore and ponder.
Aha!
And take my time to do research on.
Nice.
So yeah, I've been feeling very low lately. Still do my recording, still do my trailer reactions, but I'm still feeling like something is missing. Maybe I'm supposed to be doing something, and because I'm not doing that thing I'm supposed to be doing, that's why I'm feeling this way. I just saw a little seagull run past my line of sight. I thought it was coming towards me, but I think it's chasing another seagull. Yeah, I think it's chasing another seagull. So when we come back out in nature, it's always good to observe and just appreciate. And it's times like these that really makes me think, yeah, what am I here for, man? What am I really doing here, to be honest? Why have I been created? And I'm not asking that question out of lack of appreciation for my creation.
That's right.
I feel knowing the reason for my creation adds to the appreciation of my creation, adds to the appreciation of my existence. And I don't like doing that whole, be thankful you have eyes to see because some people are born blind. Be thankful you can speak because some people are born mute. Be thankful you have ears to hear because some people are born deaf. I don't like doing that because everyone's life experience or everyone's, the way everyone has come to be is different. So I'm questioning my beingness. I'm looking at the things that I love, things that I like, things that I dislike, and I'm appreciating my uniqueness. But I'm also pondering and questioning, what's the whole point of everything? Like all the birds that I'm watching right now, all the seagulls. Do they know that they have a purpose, or they're just running on programming? They don't think to know, they just do. Do they ponder? Do they observe? Can a bird look at 4 different human beings and tell one human being is a douchebag, and tell the other one is sad, and tell the other one is happy, and tell the other one is just neutral? I know pet dogs and cats, you know, have that ability, but does every living animal on the planet have the ability to discern the difference between a good person and a bad person, a mean person, a sad person, a happy person, and so on and so forth? Like when I really think about it, all the information I've come across lately that I didn't know growing up, I didn't know in my country till I came to this country, and that's no shade to my country either. It's really made me realize that as human beings, many of us have been misinformed. Like in a previous video that I did recently, I was very upset on that video, and I guess when I finish editing and upload, you guys will see. I was upset at the lack of true knowledge, true self-knowledge, and true collective education of precisely what we should know about our beingness. We should know what it takes to feed our bodies. We should know what it takes to feed our specific blood types. We should know what it takes to be in spiritual alignment with ourselves, each other, and the environment. There's so many things you don't know.
He ain't lying.
For example, psychology.
What do you mean by that?
I've never heard of the word subconscious, or I'd never heard of the word subconscious till I came to this country. And even if I ever heard the word, it'd be through TV and movies and cartoons, and it was never something that stuck in my mind that I held onto and thought, yo, this is something we should know. And, one could argue that because I didn't do university back home, I'd have learned about that. That's neither here nor there. What I'm getting at is all these things, a lot of us are beginning to know in sprinkles should be something that we should all have known from the beginning. Because since it is part of our beingness, these are all things that I feel are important to know from early, when the mind is ripe and ready for it to be absorbed. And instead of having to treat it as if to say someone has a different higher IQ than another person, so therefore he or she is now open to learning about the subconscious and pseudo-conscious. No, because it is part of our beingness as human beings. There should be easier, more digestible, or more easier and it should be taught in an easier manner that can be easily digested by a young person coming up, where the person doesn't feel like it's too much information or it's overwhelming or it's overbearing, but they feel like they're prepared to learn, or they feel they can easily understand information. There's too many things going on in the world, and so many of us come into this life not knowing many things, from the physical to the spiritual. Some of us start with a religious default and then go through trauma or not go through trauma, and the religion works for some people. We come into this world absorbing our parents' beliefs, our parents' teachings. Many of us don't even get to enjoy our beingness, our uniqueness, to say, this is how I view the world, this is how the world speaks to me, this is how I relate to the world, to nature. Nature and I have this particular bond that works for both of us. I've tested it and it works. Even as a child, the child tests, and even if the child speaks multiple languages in communication with nature, nature responds. And then the child can say, this is my religion. This is my way of communicating with nature. What everyone calls God, Jehovah, Yahweh, Allah, whatever word we want to use, this being, this person says, this is my Bible. This is the way I feel at peace and one with nature, with the divine. And then we don't have the right to say, you're doing it wrong, you should go to church, you're doing it wrong, you should become a Muslim. This is one thing I was worried about recording, sitting on grass. I got ants crawling over my legs. And that's cool anyway, it's part of the whole experience, I guess. Just that it's been such a long time. At least it's not soldier ants, because them boys, they'll deal with you.
That's right.
So yeah, this is where my mind has been a lot lately. Just really breaking down all these things, all these aspects and facets of being human, our beingness. And because I'm looking at it from my perspective, my beingness, I'm looking at it as, from the collective and my perspective as well. Like today, I woke up feeling different. And I was like, dude, don't rush. Don't feel sometimes, just let the feeling flow. And I heard a crow, caw outside. And I frowned, and as soon as I frowned, I didn't like the feeling. I didn't like that I frowned. A bird is just doing its thing. And I frowned. And I asked myself, okay, what made you frown? Where is that coming from? What is a crow? Is there an ant on there's an ant on my camera.
What?
Hold on.
A few moments later.
So what has the crow done to me by just minding its own business on the outside, cawing, and then I felt irritated. I started asking myself, okay, where is this irritation coming from and why? The crow hasn't come into my house, hasn't done anything to me, hasn't bit me or, pecked at my eyeballs or anything. And even the fact that I'm saying that's coming from somewhere.
Yeah.
Now, where I come from growing up, we didn't have any crows in my environment. I'd never seen one growing up. I only knew about crows through movies. And every time I saw a crow in a movie, it was never used as a or depicted as a good thing. The only one time I remember a crow depicted as a good or powerful thing per se, it's through Norse mythology, and that would be a raven. Even though you could say they're in the same family, but that'd be a specific creature, which is a raven, not a crow. And there's somebody two ravens with Odin. So Odin's animal totems, shall I say? Is that the right term to use? Well, anyway, Odin Odin is synonymous with two ravens, and I know ravens and crows are in the same family. So aside from that, depiction of power, as if to say, when you see a raven, that's connected to Odin. That means Odin is watching over you or protecting you. That whether even if you're not in the same tradition or religion or culture, I'm not from that tribe or nation of people, but I'm still aware of other people's spiritual customs and spiritual traditions. So much so, I mean, we've been bombarded with Norse mythology since childhood, even Greek mythology, and that's another topic to talk about in its own entirety. How many of us are made to celebrate other people's spiritual customs, cultures, laws, and traditions through either movies or words we use that we don't normally research the origin from or origin of, or through cartoons or books and whatnot. And I don't remember growing up having a positive experience with my people's or my ancestral traditions. It was always negative. Maybe once or twice, and if I was to give a spectrum, 99% negative and 1% positive.
Damn, son.
And that's a shame. And that's something I'm actually actively changing. So back to the story, the crow card. And I frowned. Didn't like that feeling that I frowned, because it's nature. I don't see nature creating good birds, bad birds, good animals, bad animals. They just exist. They serve their function and their divine purpose. And like I said, the crow didn't come into my space to harm or attack me. And like I mentioned earlier on, the only experience or the only knowledge I have about crows is through movies. And in those movies, it was always a negative experience. Crows always represented bad luck or danger. These ants. So I started to think to myself, it's a shame how my relationship with this creature, a crow, has been tainted over the years. No thanks to movies and other people's fears projected onto me through these movies. Maybe crow is a bad sign for some people. And the one thing that comes to mind with negative energies of crows is Old England. During the time period of King Arthur, Robin Hood, and Old English castles, when nefarious things are going on, when the mage gone rogue is doing is performing magic, but negative magic, crows often appear.
He ain't lying.
I was honest within myself to say, hey, this fear or this irritation and anger you have for this crow is not from you innately or inside. It's come from somewhere else. Yo, these ants are gonna finish my whole experience today, boy. Like I said, it's been a long time since I last sat down on grass, so here we are. I think I need to start getting up soon because the sun is setting. The brightness is dimming. I don't know if it's being received or being picked up by the camera.